2012, 11, 17. In addition to the biological damages caused in terms of lungs, heart, internal organs, central nervous system, veins, all that, there's one more area that must be looked into. That's the illegal, non-consensual, by me, never giving consent, ever, for any of these biological uses of direct. I need to get this on record because it's imperative at this point, due to the massive levels of biological targeting through illegal, non-consensual human experimentation, direct energy, electromagnetics, to include cognitive neuroscience and neurotechnologies. This is a heavy-duty area of illegal human experimentation by all parties involved. What does non-consensual means? It means you don't have my fucking consent. You will never get my fucking consent. It's a real simple premise. So, what are they doing? They target the cranial region. Why? It's for military offensive purposes to deliberately impair cognitive, motor, central nervous system, and behavior functions. It's all being done illegally. It is all being done through criminal enterprise, state and corporate sponsored, with illegal access to these directed energy weaponry. So, if anything happens, what that means is these people don't have my consent. And if an autopsy is performed, it must be performed in the cranial region upon death, because I need to prove that what transpired was murder in the first degree. So it's a real simple premise. They are slow killing human beings, human targets, without their consent through slow kill, illegal human experimentation. In particular, the cranial area, which attributes it to cognitive neuroscience and neurotechnologies. Nano-neurotechnologies, however you want to put it. Behavioral modification. Human brain-computer interfaces. Cognitive, brain. Illegal human experimentation to the cranial or brain region to deliberately and offensively impair cognitive, motor, central nervous system, and behavior functions. Illegal, non-consenting. That is what is being done. So if anything happens to me, you will find extensive evidence, criminal, biological, and neurological evidence in the cranial region. In particular, the right temporal lobe, because that is a heavily targeted region for these illegal, non-consenting human experimentations. So along with the other biological regions, through exposure to ionizing and non-ionizing radiation, through directed energy, anti-personnel, electromagnetic weaponry, you will also find that they were doing neuroscience and neurotechnology. All done illegally. As such, all involved, whether it was civilian residents who were given access, all the way up to the Department of Defense, universities, private corporations, weapons manufacturers, private security, any and all individuals involved are to be charged, if something happens to me, with murder in the first degree through illegal, non-consenting human experimentation. I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to talk on the video because I need to make sure that this gets on the record, and I'm going to upload it. Residents at 108 Professional Center Parkway, San Rafael, California, have illegal criminal access to United States military-grade direct energy, ionizing and non-ionizing radiation weaponry. They harness the electromagnetic spectrum. They've been using it, in particular, lower unit 203, that projects the weaponry up from their ceiling through the floor. They target the sitting and sleeping area, but they have been targeting specific biological regions, in particular, the lung area. Now, why would they do that? Well, because I smoke. And in order to cause or to make it appear as if it was attributed to something that I did, as opposed to the radiation weaponry that's being used, they target specific biological regions. In this case, it's the lung area, the kidney area. So basically when I sleep. Lower Unit 203, along with other residents at 108 Professional Center Parkway, allowed a domestic terrorist organization with illegal access to United States military-grade, direct energy, radio frequency, electromagnetic, anti-personnel, crowd control weaponry. They've been field testing it, they handed it over to civilians, and they were told to speed up the process by amping up the radiation exposure. So in this case, if anything happens to me, it is imperative that biological and neurological testing be done to overexposure to ionizing and non-ionizing radiation. If there are any cancers that are there, it will be attributed not to smoking, but to overexposure to directed energy, ionizing and non-ionizing radiation weaponry. The residents, the building manager at 108 Professional Center Parkway were probably told to speed up the process by amping up the radiation exposure. They are to be held fully and criminally accountable for their access, use, and/or knowledge of the weaponry that was set up at 108 Professional Center Parkway, San Rafael, California. Biological and neurological testing for exposure and overexposure to non-ionizing and ionizing radiation, and it will be directly attributed to this domestic terrorist organization that has military-grade access to military-grade weaponry, United States military-grade directed energy weaponry.